Good evening.
Hi, I'm just gonna wing this tonight. I didn't prepare anything. Housing. The Planning Commission just gave their report on, what they do in planning and zoning and all of that. And I'd like to ask the council and the Planning Commission, what do they do in regards to the workforce when it comes to that? It has been brought to my attention that city council, city staff are not aware of who exists within our local workforce. That's super critical if we're gonna create attainable homeownership and housing options and opportunities and reduce traffic, improve on pollution, et cetera, et cetera. What and how will you learn about the workforce? Who are the grocers? Who's going to that new Smart and Final Extra? Who's gonna work there? Where are they gonna live? Who are these people? How do we get this data? How are we gonna get it? Because it's super important. At the last time I spoke here, last city council meeting, I mentioned that 7 years ago, when I first spoke here, that city staff took me in and sat me down with 2 social workers, 2 police officers, and 2 city staff members. And their way of advocating for me was, let's figure out your numbers. Where can we get you? And they mentioned places like Coachella. I work at Trader Joe's right here. Coachella. As if we're gonna sweep me off somewhere. And then Erica Russo communicated to me, it looks like you run a really tight budget. You're fiscally accountable. Your son's not gonna need you come high school so much anymore, because I don't know, apparently people have access to extracurricular activities where their children have extra things to do. We don't have the luxury of that. So turns out my kid needs a parent around since we're already down one, and a community would help. So when will anybody up here start talking about the workforce and the housing in which we need to figure out? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Good evening.
Okay. Hi, good evening. I'm Melissa Bourbonnais from Upward Community. I would like to expand upon what Laurel Lamont just discussed, but I would like to start by asking that you practice not just listening, and not being on your phones, but actually listening to public comments, but empathetic listening. Because Mayor Schwank, you mentioned earlier that relationship building is really important to this process, to a community. Empathetic listening builds relationships. It's the best way to build relationship and to build a coalition to care for a community, because, right? Didn't somebody say it takes a village? Empathetic listening is not about just hearing the words coming out of my mouth. It's about trying to understand the words coming out of my mouth, trying to understand the stories, the personal stories that Laurel Lamont shares, her lived experience, and the lived experience of all people who fall in affordable housing or within the workforce. So please listen and try to understand, not just come up with your defense or all the reasons why I'm wrong. Because I'm not even coming to you, Upward Community isn't coming to you with our opinion. We're coming to you with a lot of facts. We're coming to you with something that is well established, that RCOG produced, right, in 2020, as we talked about before, a 58-page report. That's RCOG, and you're a member. Temecula is a member of RCOG. So if RCOG produced a 58-page report that reiterated over and over that this is a housing crisis, that we're in the midst of a severe housing crisis and we need for the cities to take action, that's not my opinion. Now, you can dismiss it if you want because you're not directly impacted by it, I would imagine. But that's not my opinion. The fact that the state, even this year, just this year, not even counting previous years, passed through 56 bills. I'm sure a lot of them are on your desk, and if they're not, then they will be soon, specific to housing. specific to removing the barriers to building affordable housing. Where do you think those barriers come from? The barriers come from cities. So the state has intervened because the cities have failed. That's not my opinion. That's 56 bills that have come down just this year. And it's going to make you're going to be forced to adjust accordingly. So rather than just complaining about the state and just putting this off further and further, let's work together, let's empathize with others, and let's fix this. Thank you.
All right, thank you.